Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to
Welcome.
the Game Chaps podcast.
We're back again.
We're back, bitches.
You better believe it.
Okay, that's quite an aggressive way to welcome. But yeah, this is
We're chilled. We're chilled.
This is the Game Chaps podcast where
Your
myself,
dreams come true.
Jamie,
And myself, Robin.
And myself, Bindi.
get together and chat about various kind of gaming topics and whatnot. So it's been a while. It's
It
been
has been a while.
difficult to see each
Life
other
has
this year.
been unusual.
Funny
This
that.
is the first time we've been in a room together for a long time.
And the irony of that is that most people started a podcast in lockdown and we
Yeah.
haven't actually done any for ages.
Well, we could have done it over Skype
It's
a
not
few
the
times,
same.
but I think we did some other stuff, and this is nice. Like we've all got
Yeah.
a coffee.
This is
We're all
the way
sat
we
around
do
having
it.
a chill. And yeah, we thought on this episode of the Game Chaps podcast, very very fitting. We will be discussing our games of lockdown.
Mm.
So it has obviously been a shit year for a number of reasons. But hopefully a mild silver lining for the gamers out there
hmm
is that you have either had more time or been able to take some sort of comfort in playing video games. And so I thought it would be fun if we discussed our games of lockdown, anything from that game you've been meaning to play for ages and just never had the time to do, to that old favourite which you've just gone back to help take some comfort in and to get you through this shitty time. So who would like to go first?
Robin, I think Robin should go first because he never does, I don't think.
Okay,
Robin, one of your games of lockdown.
I'll kick things off with what I think is going to be one of the obvious and common picks for a lot of people, which is Animal Crossing.
Of course, yeah.
Nude Horizons.
Oh,
Nude,
is that
right?
the version you got?
That's
I
the
didn't know
version
that
I
was an
play.
option.
That's more of a, like, getting yourself
That's
in
a
the
mod.
mood while you play.
Oh, no.
these turnips.
No. Oh, turnips.
That's a personalised mod.
Yeah.
Look at all those
Um,
naked turnips.
Because I figure I'm interested to hear from you guys if there's a general trend of the games we've been playing most of in lockdown that are like games that simulate real life
Yeah.
in some way.
I'm sure that
um,
is going to be true for a lot of people.
But yeah, I was a little bit late to the party when everyone was jumping on
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
Because it
was
pretty much
everywhere.
came out as an international lockdown, essentially, kind of kicked
Yeah.
in. And it was like, did Nintendo know about this? Because
yeah,
they have cornered the market.
Yes.
Like, I don't know sales, but Animal Crossing must have been
oh,
the
it must have
best-selling
been,
game
yeah, for
by
sure.
far. Like they.
Oh yeah,
absolutely-
it was massive, huge seller for them. So and yeah, it was just a really nice change of pace, and like the amount of customization and stuff in
Yeah.
games like that, that's always really appealing to me. I really enjoyed just making clothing designs and stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. I could spend hours just like doing my little golden bell dress and things like that, and really like zooming out. Okay, I need to do a little bit more of pixel here.
Yeah.
It's great.
And it is one of those, like, I definitely have fallen off it recently, but in the like intense period where I was doing it every day for quite a while,
Yeah.
It became part of your routine.
yeah, I was really into
And you have
it.
to do it at a certain time so you can go to the shop
Yes.
and things like that.
At a time when you can't actually do that, but like it says, like, I'm simulating real life, going to the shop and tending my crops outside and seeing my friends. But it's
Yeah.
from the comfort of my Switch in my locked
So
house.
Yeah.
that is definitely going to be
That's gonna be a big
a
one.
defining lockdown game for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, because it is like encapsulates a particular period of time.
Yeah, Animal Crossing will almost always be associated. Well, Animal Crossing Switch, New Horizon will always be associated with lockdown.
See, that's the one, before we started recording, I was like, that's one for me as well, but I have other options because I knew that would be one for you.
It would be weird for it not to come up in the
Well, yeah.
conversation.
But I've got different options. So.
Did you feel you have more to add for why Animal Crossing for you was?
I mean, just the fact that it's a very
Because have either of you
It
played
can be
Animal
very-
Crossing games before?
I have, yeah. This
Okay.
one is my favourite.
The-
Because it does have
Molto
Mamma
bene.
Mia.
Molto bene, bellissimo. That's the Italian edition.
Because of the customization, and you do have more control over the way your house looks and landscape. But yeah, all of that. Although I have to say, I didn't get into that so much. I think that's, for me, too much. It's like becomes overwhelming when I start doing that stuff. Although I did really enjoy making my little dinosaur museum thing at the top. You go up and there's like, you've got the torches and the archway, and then there's this massive dinosaur behind it. That was satisfying. Yeah. Oh, and just the actual museum itself, where you put. That was one of my favorite things. Just going into the aquarium bit.
Yeah,
and it's so nice in there.
It is nice.
It's just a really relaxing, and the music and the characters. It just makes you
it's
feel
all
sort
good
of happy.
comforting.
It's comforting.
Yeah.
It's perfect for lockdown.
It's very much like a lot of effort has gone into
The most
just giving a nice feel to everything.
And the only thing that I can think of in it really that's stressful is when you get chased by bees.
Yeah, which is pretty stressful in real life. So
because basically you can get rid of them if you just get into a house quick enough. You're like knocking on neighbours' doors like that.
Let me in.
There's bees. But then obviously you've just got medicine, you can fix it. It's just annoying. And there's loads of bees.
So many bees.
I was shaking trees and the bees.
I mean,
have gone.
bee-related deaths have definitely gone down in the world the past few months. So,
Although I did
There are
eventually
some
catch a
of them.
bee, turn around and get it. Yeah.
just a tormentor.
Actually,
Okay.
Catch a bee.
Animal Crossing. Yeah.
How about you, Jamie? What's your first?
Weirdly, I'm going to go with Resident Evil 2.
That's a good one.
Because I am so behind on the party on that, and it was so many people's Game of the Year 2019, but it also came out at the beginning of 2019. So, by the time I got my hands on it and actually started playing it, I was well over a year past it. But just really, really enjoyed it. Never played Resi 2 before on the PlayStation. Obviously, big fan of Resident Evil, but a bit more hit and miss with certain things. So Resi 4, Resi 7 are up there. Resi 5, I'm still in the middle. Resi 6, I think. Ugh. I played random things beyond that, but I thought it was really solid. It was a nice... It became part of an evening routine for me, because this was when I was staying at my brother's, and I had the little gaming den, but it meant he was in there during the day working, so I couldn't, and my PlayStation was there, so I couldn't game all day, which was probably for the better. But it meant, okay, we've had dinner now, he's off doing something else, I've got the evening to myself to actually go and just experience this. Like have a bit of a spooky evening, but only like an hour or two, and just kind of I mean, it's a good length game anyway, but I feel like I really made the most of it, and yeah, just really solid, and that was massively like I would appreciate.
Did it not make it? It didn't make you feel like everything's so bleak, or did you sort of enjoy that? It was
well,
a bit
no,
like...
because you're inside for so much of it. You see, it's kind of like.
Plus, you're killing the virus.
Yeah,
Feels
that's
like
true.
you're doing something.
I think if you're running around Raccoon City, and I'm still yet to play Resi 3, even though I do have that as well, the fact that I haven't been able to play it because I don't feel I've got the time at the minute is why it was nice to feel I had the time to sit down and enjoy Resi 2. But it's got a slightly claustrophobic vibe of just running around this police station and things within it. But yeah, I can absolutely understand why it's so many people's game of the year back then, and makes me very excited for more Resi 2 stuff. But it was just a nice little adventure. I figured, and
it's funny because obviously with Animal Crossing, it's very sort of light and happy and easygoing, and then your game quite dark, and intense, and a bit bleak.
Yeah, kind of like, oh shit, I'm running out of ammo, and this fucking ex-bastard's chasing me down. And...
But there's sort of, I think that kind of ties into my first choice.
Very good segue.
Because I think you can't want to do an extreme. I guess you want to go into the like really happy, light-hearted, or kind of enjoy the like, it's locked down and everything's shit, and I'm just gonna. So my first one is the 3rd episode of Wintermute.
I've
The
not
Long
heard of
Dark.
this. Oh, Long Dark.
Which finally I've been waiting for so long for it to come out, And I was a little bit worried that I'd go into it and be like, I can't remember how to play this and I'm going to die straight away. But it was fine. But I like the fact that it is that game. The reason I like it so much is because it is like this very a lot of the game is just desperately trying to get from point A to point B in the snow, in the like, and your little meters going down, like you are freezing, you've got hypothermia, you're starving,
you're shit, you can't spell,
you're gonna die. You should have stayed indoors where it's warm.
And in this version of the game, which is a slight negative, but they have the timber wolf, which basically means randomly you get attacked by a pack of wolves and you have to shoot at them until they go away, basically. And it's so one part of the game was you have to go out and find these survivors from this plane crash and literally carry them back, and you can't shoot, you can't do anything. And then every single time there's this one part where it triggers the timberwolf, and it, like, no matter which direction I went, it always did it. And you have to chuck this guy on the ground. No, I picked him back up. You have to, as part of the storyline. But I chuck him on the ground and just like shooting at wolves, and I got so pissed off. That aside, I think the timberwolf thing is slightly, it feels slightly unfair, but really I got really into it because it's this like slightly apocalyptic world, and like everything, like especially at the beginning when we literally were in lockdown and couldn't leave. It's quite nice to be like
freedom,
embrace the everything's gone to shit a little bit and play it out in a different way.
So funny you say that, because I'm gonna jump back in, Robin, because one of my second choice, which is very much more along those lines, and was appreciated because of like the irony of the scenario, was upon its release, The Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah.
And I knew this was how I was going to do it because I recently replayed The Last of Us, the remastered version, because I think it was like a Games with Gold thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And I decided on that playthrough I was going to get as immersed as possible into it. So, I maybe just didn't shave for a little while, and again, played it at night, but I was drinking whiskey quite heavily, and I was really getting into the like Joel kind of like character. Yeah. And I very much approached The Last of Us 2 like this. So if I was maybe playing a casual bit of Resident Evil 2 after dinner, this was me at 2 a.m, alone, drinking a lot of whiskey, being like, this is just a fucked up world, and it is a fucked up game. And that was very much kind of like I said, embracing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
indulging
you're steering
in
into the into the darkness in that game when you're out and about and just seeing this ruined world and just everything's out to kill you, and like it is immersive.
It's kind of in some ways it's kind of validating the way you feel like by playing that. It's like, this is important, and it's like,
and you're taking out your frustration. Like, why are you being so fucking stupid? Like, be a decent human being, you stupid. Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure I would have enjoyed playing it in many other scenarios, but the fact is like, okay, this has come out, I can get it at launch and appreciate it at launch, and it is a long game, but I know it had a lot of controversy, but I stayed away from all of that. I was in the dark, quite literally, and just enjoyed playing it. The same reason I like the first one, the atmosphere, the world, generally very solid core gameplay mechanics and like gameplay loop, and then whatever people have to say about the story, but I really enjoyed it. And for me, that is more closely associated with lockdown, like you're saying about Animal Crossing. It came out at a time when the world still is fucked, but it was very, very fucked at that point. Yeah. And it's such a different game. Like, you guys were playing Animal Crossing, and there was me, like, The Last of Us 2. I'm just going to kill everybody. I'm just going to survive.
The theme of the lockdown games generally is very much like an escapist thing. Like, what other, like, place mentally can I go to?
You embrace it. Either you completely try and, like, sugarcoat it and like really escape it, or you really dive into it. Like, I'm just going to feel every.
Yeah, I was very much like, even though it is sort of a bleaker thing, it's very much like a narrative-driven thing that can occupy your whole mind for a while.
And I'd lose myself in it, and I'd literally leave this little shack in the garden at 5 a.m, and it was going into summer, so it would actually be light then. But that was like the level of light I left the game, so it just kind of like bled into this real world. I just kind of take a step outside and just be like,
I don't know
what is
happening.
going on?
What is real?
I don't want to go to sleep. Like, so yeah, Last of Us 2.
Good choice.
Good laugh.
Very
you know?
good.
So my second choice is Dweems.
Dweems.
Dreams will come
True.
true. And they
And
can
they did for you.
me
And
and you. I was a bit late to the party on this. This was a game. You got it for me for my
Yeah,
birthday, didn't you?
Well,
Amy?
yes, I did.
Why, yes, sir, it was me.
And
Two bags
it
full.
was something that I was really interested in from the outset. Like as soon as information started coming out about the game, simply because I've always really liked the idea of like those sort of creative, make your own games kind of things. Like I've definitely had my fun with like Mario Maker and Little Big Planet and things, but for me, they were never like the particular kind of genre that I wanted to be creative with.
Yeah, they're 2D side-scrolling.
Yes,
Loosely.
and there's not like obviously some people have done some incredibly like creative things with those games. Like I saw somebody make what is basically a functional like dungeon crawler RPG in Mario Maker, and that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But I'm not as clever as that.
It's a very particular type of creative.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So for me, having something where you had sort of, for one thing, a full 3D environment you could play around with, and especially like being able to do sort of customize your own like character models and sculpting and things like that. That was enormously appealing, and since I've been messing around with it, it's taken me. I've been playing a lot of it, and there's so much that I don't fully understand. It's very much an ongoing learning process, and that's really pleasing to me. Like there's a lot of enjoyment I'm getting just about like learning the mechanics.
By just playing around with it and sort of learning it that way rather than
and also simply the amount of stuff out there with people who do have a better grip on it. Like just
it's
being
so
able
impressive.
to jump in. The variety that's there is insane. Like obviously you come across
showed me
a lot
at the beginning.
of, like,
there was like the one that sticks in my mind was just like a cafe scene. And you just like it's just like a thing that they've set up, like a model that you can just kind of look around, but it's like a all day breakfast kind of thing on a table, and it's
just a really well
and
modeled.
You just kind of get to sort of like
breakfast.
But someone just modelled that, and it was really pleasing.
Which is like a huge part of game design itself. It's not just about just the mechanics or having an amazing plot. Like just building a believable or enjoyable world is a huge like element.
And that's the kind of stuff that I think is actually a really good way to learn those sorts of how to use those sorts of engines and games things, is just going like, I'm just going to make something interesting and fun for me to experiment with. And so like obviously you do see a lot of things that are like, oh, this is this person's version of like trying to make a Zelda or Mario or Sonic or whatever. There's a pretty good Donkey Kong one, and loads of like PT remakes and stuff like that, which is all interesting. But then it's a lot more interesting when you see what those people have done when they're going like, okay, now I understand how it works. I can come up with something original
for myself.
And there's just some incredibly impressive stuff out there.
I mean, I feel like it's a game that I would enjoy, but would be wasted at least 50% of it on me, because I feel like I would want to get it and play it just to enjoy what everybody else has done. But
the thing is,
I would very much shy away from even trying to like.
Watching Robin do it
create
makes me
something.
feel stressed.
I think for me, like it's you would absolutely be able to get your money's worth if you were only intending to just play other people's stuff, because there's so much there. But having it as like a fun like toolbox to play around with, and because for me, like I actually spent ages before I really started getting into playing around with other people's games. I was just messing around with like sculpting models and things and getting used to those mechanics, and really enjoyed doing that. But that's very much like a thing that I would do anyway. It's like just having plasticine to play around with for an hour.
It's having that little sandbox playground, and then that might turn into like a proof of concept, and you do like I'm sure there's a lot of game stuff, like you just come up with like almost like the first basic level or something, and then you go, right, now how do we turn this into a full game? And you can see the potential of it, but it always starts with having to do something kind of isolated as a
So for me it's my current game of the year front runner. I really have enjoyed a hell of a lot of it.
Good present, Jamie.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
My last one. I wonder if you could guess what it is, because I sort of discovered it this year during lockdown.
Discovered it this year during lockdown.
I don't even know if we've talked about it, but it's Overwatch. Which isn't like, it's very much just sort of replaced my need for Splatoon. But I have a healthier relationship with Overwatch. I think it's great.
This is Overwatch on the Switch as well.
Yeah, I mean, apparently that's maybe not the best version of it, but I mean, because of, that's the only console I currently have. I'm kind of restricted to that. But it's the same sort of, formula, team versus team, But the thing that makes it, that I've enjoyed so much about it is each character is so different, and it feels like a different game when you play as a different character, because you really have different jobs to do in your team. And it is a bit frustrating when you see someone playing as a character, you're like, you're not doing what that character should be doing.
Useless.
Although saying that, I'm not like, I never talk online to the people, but sometimes people have their mics on and they talk at you.
It is funny when you hear people talking.
And there was this one guy once who was just being so mean. He was actually not being mean to me. He said one thing at the beginning, which was like, you're too far forward. And I was like, oh God, Jesus.
God, okay, that's the level we're at here, okay.
But then he was just picking on this one person, being like...
On your team?
Yeah, being like, what are you doing? Oh my God, you have no idea. Oh yeah, switch to that character, that's going to help you, and stuff like that. Jesus. I was like, what
I didn't know you played Overwatch, Robin.
He was being...
that
person eventually spoke back, and it was clearly a child. And it made me really sad. But you're allowed to say it to yourself, obviously. You're like, what the hell is that guy doing? But don't say it on mic.
Guy's a noob, yeah.
And I can tell there's that, obviously those kind of people will play the game. But I just enjoy... There's probably... I'm trying to think how many... I don't know how many characters there are overall. There's quite a lot.
A fair few.
There's something for everybody.
It's like maybe 25...
Somewhere in that region.
Maybe more.
Which, considering how bespoke they are, that's quite insane.
And they are all really different. Their movesets, and like there are some that I haven't even touched on yet, because I'm like, I do not understand you. And I'll have a mess around on my own in the little, whatever it's called, the area where you kind of just try people out. And I'm like, nope, not ready for that. Like, I've only just got into Echo, who at first I was like, you are too confusing for me. I'm going to play as this character that's just basically gun, and there's nothing else to think about. But it's really... It's just really satisfying when you get good as a character, and then you can go, I can dabble with this one. And when you get good as that one, you can kind of, and then if you get bored of it as playing a certain character, you just find another one. Yeah. And that can go on for so long if you want to like try every single character out.
Yeah, this was going to be my honourable mention as well, because I've really got into it recently. Obviously, I've only been playing with you. I haven't been playing
On your own.
my own, really. But
So you were trolling then.
What are you
I'm
doing?
not taking it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, switch to that character. That will
That's
help.
good.
That's such Robin Sass.
But I'm still finding my feet with it, really, and
it takes a long time to get used to even just one character.
Well, that's the thing, is that I went in going and because you suggested
Moira.
for me to try Moira, which
Moira.
who I really, really like and really took to. I have just played
Just
Moira,
plays her.
really.
Unless someone else picks her and he's forced to get someone else, you're like, oh
Oh,
god.
shit, what's my plan B?
No, there's a couple
You
of
gotta
other
have a
characters that I've played around with a bit, but I'm still sort of
Like Zenyatta.
feeling everyone out and getting used
It's
to
like
their
Smash Bros. Like
abilities.
with Smash Bros. Ultimate, like there's so many characters now that there's something for everybody. And you can still have your favorites, and you have your first choice and second choice, or this is your close range, or I prefer this person to the long range. But
it's also
there's so much to like dive into.
In Overwatch, there's the element of classes in terms of like there are 3 distinctive classes that all characters fit into one of.
Yeah.
Lower, middle, and upper. Yeah.
Yes, that's
the aristocracy and
normal
the
skin.
serfs.
Peasants.
Peasants.
Or pick a peasant class. Yeah, that's gonna help.
That's gonna help
against royalty. I now want a game that's a battle royale
I'm very
based
ready
on.
because most people don't want to play as tank or health. Most often do end up playing because I always check every single box. Like I'm happy to be. You have
most
to have
people
support.
seem
You
to
have to have
automatically to want to play it as more or less just a competitive shooter, so they'll pick the.
I
attack
actually
class.
really enjoy not so much. I think there's more pressure on you as the tank. I find that
You have
quite
to lead the
stressful.
charge.
You have to,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of be the solid. You have to be up front and be.
Well,
You have
with,
to
with
hold
all
the
those,
line.
Yeah.
hold the line in so many of those
I prefer
games.
being, support and someone who's further back and healing people and taking people and can kind of you can weave around a bit.
That's
more.
what
I think
I
it
like
gives you more options.
Moira, because
Yeah.
it gets to be a bit more of like having an overview of what's going on with the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've really enjoyed that.
You should get it, Jamie. We should play it together.
On Switch.
I guess you'd have to really if you want to play with us.
I'm talking way back in the day. I used to be very much into like Counter-Strike PC gaming type, like which is kind of like the starting point for so many of these things.
Yeah,
there's obviously a bit more.
I was surprised that Robin liked it. I didn't think it was just going to be your thing at all.
I really, for the longest time, I've just kind of gone, yeah, I can kind of see the appeal, but I don't think it's for me.
But it's the way they framed it, in
Yeah.
terms of like the style and the characters, and that makes them more accessible. Then,
Sure,
even if the same principles of a capture the flag was played in like Call of Duty, it's a very different kind of competitive shooter.
And for me, thinking of the like comparison to, I still love Splatoon. It doesn't get me angry in the same way that Splatoon does, because there's when you die and you're coming back, it's a real. You don't feel. I don't know. It doesn't it's like a moment of calm more than it is like, oh, I need to get back in now. It sort of gives you that moment to sort of, and then you kind of wander back, and it doesn't feel like, oh, it's all going to have gone to shit by the time I come back to life.
The line is lost.
Feel that.
I think it's also because there are more distinctly defined roles that people, classes,
less of a
and
free-for-all.
characters frame the game around.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, definitely. It's just that there's more structures to the team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it does. I think you get that much more sense of it being teamwork than you do in Splatoon. You kind of have no idea what anybody else is doing a lot of the time. But in this, you really if someone's done a good job of that role, and it's like if someone plays as Mercy and they're constantly bringing you back to life, like they do it millions of times, you don't straight back up.
Yeah,
it's
I like this. Person.
Yes, you're on it.
You're on it.
Yeah.
So shout out to RKG.
Oh yeah,
because it was their streams that
basically.
got you interested.
Yeah. Well, I just watched a little bit of their first one. I think that might have been in May.
A while back.
Yeah. And I was like, this just looks
fun.
It looks fun. And it's got
And
really
they're not
interesting
killing each other like
characters.
Splatoon. I mean, in person.
I mean, I like, Splatoon is what made me discover that I really
That's your
like that
that's your
kind of
esports game. Like if you were going to try and turn pro,
game.
that's what you do. Overwatch is the thing you'd play with your friends.
Oh God, I don't think the idea of me doing any kind of real competitive Splatoon, I'd smash the place up.
I know, that's why I want to see it.
No, I'd smash everything. Jamie and I played it the other day, and I got pissy.
She got really angry with me.
I got pissy because he killed me.
This is a great segue, by the way. I'm this is all staying in.
I was like, Jamie, Jamie, you killed me. And then he flobberdobbed and he didn't say anything. And I was like, I am mad now. But he didn't even realise he'd done it.
No.
I don't think he did it on purpose, but it was just a really unfortunate. I was like, you are celebrating that you killed me, and you're not saying it. You're not making a joke of it. You wanted me dead.
And it's suddenly like, I mean, we were having really,
and then I was really shitty
bad,
with him for a while.
We had really bad connection. Like just in terms of like getting paired up or even being in the same freaking game, and we were struggling a bit. So it was a big deal when we did get in together. And we did some salmon running, which was
That's
really
good.
It never helps
difficult,
that
but
on the Switch everything is locked to Wi-Fi. Like you can't unless you have the extra dongle thing.
Well,
You
we
can't use the
we tried another time. I got booted so much.
Oh,
Splatoon gave me a warning.
Oh,
I got told off, and there was absolutely I couldn't even rage
dear
quit.
Mr. Band,
I couldn't even
I
rage
think
quit.
you ought to have a conversation with your internet provider.
Because literally what would happen was we'd get into a game, yes, we're in the same game together.
So
The game starts, there's 4-on-4, and straight away I get kicked out. And because Bindi was always on the opposite team, their team were always playing 4v3.
And it was always the same. It was the same people in each match.
Yeah, because
No
I
one
kept
was
joining
leaving.
back in
So
Bindi's
he kept
game.
joining in, and then all they'd see on the other team was just jam, nothing.
Yeah.
Jam, nothing.
It's like, who is this guy who somehow keeps getting into the same... Like, who does he know here? Who's cheating?
Who's the traitor?
And that was all
Traitor
totally my
potato.
internet. And I've no idea why, because everything else is
had to
working.
give up.
But I got a warning. It's like, if you keep doing this, we're going to ban you from the game temporarily. And I was like, oh, maybe we should stop.
I've been banned from the game before.
Yeah, that's because you said all those.
That's because of that
offensive
hate.
things. Yeah.
That's because I killed those children.
Yeah. Any other honourable?
No, I don't like any other
mentions?
games. No, I
carried on playing
obviously-
Persona 5. Still
It's been
enjoy
a
that.
long time. I'm sure we've all played quite a few
Yeah, I
things.
mean, yeah.
I would give an honourable shout out to Stardew Valley
Yeah.
and our time doing Cool Farm
Uh-huh.
because, well, yeah, I think we can agree. To simplify the topic, people are either playing game, like it's all some sort of distraction or immerse yourself in an escapism, but you either steer into it and play something really dark, or you play something fun and stupid and lighthearted. And I wasn't part of the Animal Crossing crew, but for me, Stardew Valley was that like, oh, let's just go.
Tick that box.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of still a stressful game, and we shouldn't have picked a fucking Cool Farm that had creatures attacking it at night, because that didn't help.
That definitely didn't help.
Stay inside, but just the idea of like, let's just look after this farm now.
Yeah.
And if I had these really dark evenings of drinking a lot of whiskey and seeing lots of death and decay and post-apocalyptic worlds in Resident Evil and Last of Us 2, having a nice gentle afternoon with you guys, just like some salmon berries.
Salmon berries.
Was very, very fitting. So and I've obviously played loads of Stardew Valley before then, but in that moment I was like, okay, this is a nice way to spend a lockdown afternoon. And yeah, I can very much see the appeal of those, everyone who went into Animal Crossing, and I'm sure plenty of other. What are your lockdown games?
Let us know.
I'm genuinely like interested to hear other
Yeah.
people's things, because
And what's helped them.
what's
Through
the good
the
shit for
weirdness.
these hard times?
Yeah.
Because they ain't over yet,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's always got their favourites. So yeah, we'd love to hear what games did you most enjoy in lockdown, or what generally is like that game you love going back to, and it just brings you to a happy place, either through like you know me with my Mario Sunshines, that just brings me back to this is just a fun summery game and a nice time of my life that I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually played that.
Tell you
Yes.
one other thing I've done. I got back into Breath of the Wild for a bit,
Oh, okay.
and I started a new game and wanted to play around with some glitchy stuff. So I glitched out of the Shrine of Resurrection early on,
Nice.
so that you don't have to leave through the entrance, which means that the initial like opening cutscene doesn't trigger.
That iconic.
Which
one.
means that time doesn't trigger. So time doesn't move forward, which means you never get a blood moon. So I just have
Been
a
killing
game
everybody.
where I'm going on a full genocide. I'm cleaning the whole map of enemies.
That's quite a fun thing
And
to
here I
do.
thought you were gonna like
and know
have
that they're
some-
gone forever. They're
Yes,
gone.
they're not
That's
coming
quite
back.
satisfying. I think I'd like that too.
That's
That's like if you like froze time, just went around like pantsing everybody, so that when time suddenly does like come back on, everyone's fucked.
That's the way to do it.
That's really cool.
Then
that you can
then
do that.
nobody knows who the one person you really wanted to pants was.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be good. I mean, obviously you can do it through this glitch, so it is achievable. But if that was an option in the game, but then I suppose I think it would ruin the normal game if people switch that on.
Yeah,
Like people, if they die forever, then
it's
Yeah.
kind of
it's part. The
necessary.
fact that they come back is kind of part of what makes it what it is.
Death and
But I'd like to
resurrection.
do it that way as well. I'd be interested in just literally like, and they're all
Yeah.
gone.
Yep. It's just you strolling out, and be like, yep, no
That's
threats.
exactly
for me.
what I was doing before. It's kind of like I was thinking back
That's
to our
creepy.
road trip videos,
With like the
and I was like, well,
They're
would
quite
have
aggressive.
been nice if there were road trips where there was just
No threat to
like,
life.
Yeah, just
yeah,
seeing what
definitely
there was
going to
like-
be chill.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, we could do another Zelda road trip. But
True.
nice world.
everybody
It's
likes
always
them.
an
They're
option.
really nice.
Cool. Wow. I think that's
There
been
we go.
that's been a nice podcast for our games of lockdown. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and yeah, let us know in the comments below your suggestions for your favourite games of lockdown, but also just your favourite games.
Why not?
We have been the Game Chaps, Robin, Bindi, and Jamie. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel. We do other podcasts, but we do all sorts of crazy gameplays and challenge things, and a lot of drinking.
A lot
but
of drinking, yeah.
it's all fun. You can find us over on the socials: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Game Chaps or at the Game Chaps. We do a bit of Twitch streaming, at game_chaps. Twitch.tv. Come check us out on there, and hopefully, there's something sexy you enjoy.
It has to be sexy though.
Has to be sexy. If
it's
the
not
game's
sexy,
not
don't
sexy,
watch.
there's
If it
no
doesn't-
purpose.
if-
It's our
If
USP.
It
you're
doesn't
not
excite
turned
you.
on by whatever video we're doing, we don't want to hear about
That is
Don't-
the Game
don't
Chaps
watch.
guarantee. Turned on or you
Turn
turn off.
off.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends.
Hit the ding dong.
Yeah, hit the ding dong. Have a pizza. It's all gravy.
Mama Mookie.
Mama
Mama
Mookie.
Mookie.
Until next time. Ciao.
Ciao,
Bella,
bye-bye.
ciao.
Bye.
Spaghetti.
It's goodbye.
Yeah. Ciao.